we're gonna see some complicated middle games. We're gonna start off with one of the games I played in the US Championship, a pretty complicated game where I played against the Super Grandmaster Wesley So. Sure, a lot of you probably know who he is. Doesn't need any introduction. Higher rated than me. And we reached this very interesting position where he's outplayed me. He's clearly much better. My king is very weak. But he needs to be precise. If he's not precise, like he wasn't in the game, he actually let me come back in this game. So let's try to find a way to make sure we get a big advantage. So let's try to try to elaborate as deeply as you can, right? It's not just one move, not just two moves, but as deep as you can. Try to find some ideas. Yeah, so those who just joined, you know, this is from my game against Wesley. So we're looking at White's best possibility here. So I'll wait until I see like 3, 4, 5 answers, maybe. Complete answers. There are basically two solutions, actually, two pretty good ways to play. There's one kind of dynamic way and one more positional, strategical way. He didn't find either one, actually. He played kind of an inferior way. Okay, maybe a few more minutes, 2, 3 more minutes. Okay, it looks like, you know, I got 3 answers and all 3 of them are kind of pretty logical. Okay, so one of the possibilities is to play Queen c5, which I think was actually quite decent, right? Because it seems like Black has to take it. And after this, yeah, you know, you're threatening here. And after knight g7, you play h4. Like if takes rook g7. And otherwise, knight comes to d4. This is weak. So Queen c5 might very well be the simplest and most practical approaches here, where white is just much better. A second round +2 evaluation. But, you know, maybe the objective computer best way was rook g5, pawn g5. Now, bishop e5 is kind of important because if you go bishop g5, I think just knight f6 and, okay, knight f4 is possible, but a move like queen f7, it's not that clear cut. You can also play bishop e5, knight f6, that is correct. Now, here it's kind of important to see the follow-up. Because if you play rook g5, I mean, then I can play, let's see, what is the move? Yeah, like rook f7, well, maybe, yeah, and rook f8. So The best way probably is queen d2, trying to take queen takes g5, rook g8, and rook takes g5, c5, h4. And when black tries to create counterplay, it doesn't amount to very much because we're playing knight f4, knight h5, and black is up in exchange, but he's totally paralyzed here with that knight on e5 pinned, and well, very hard to play for black. So that would have been very powerful, one of these two solutions. But my opponent played quite imprecisely. I think he thought that he's winning almost no matter what, and he just played queen d2, expecting that I will just roll over and resign in a few moves. But here I played a pretty good move, where actually I pretty much got back in the game after that move. After that move, it's already not winning anymore, and the game kind of starts almost over. So what do you think black should play? Find a good defensive move for black. So please, no one-move solutions. Try to give some variations. Okay, I'll give some more time. Try to see if you can find it. I want at least a few people try to find this. So I think a lot of you are forgetting that white has this idea rook takes g5 that you have to watch out for, right? So for example, if you go knight d6, I will play rook takes g5, f takes g5, bishop e5, and here I think you're in big trouble, right? So we have to not forget that that's white's idea. In fact, he should have probably done a previous move, right? But now that he didn't do it, we have to find a way to minimize the effect of it. If we go bishop f4, then he goes knight f4 and starts harassing us with ideas like knight g6, rook h4 first. And again, it doesn't seem like we can really defend here. H6, then h4 looks like it's a problem, right? So again, we have to always consider opponent's ideas very seriously. Rook f7 is very interesting, but then again, we can take with the rook, I think, and then go bishop e5. Same kind of annoying problem, which I would be quite worried about. And also I could, oh yeah, I can play h4 here too, after rook f7. So it doesn't work. Right, so you need to play knight g7 here. That's the key idea. Because that way you're prepared that after all of this, you can take back here. And also you're defending against rook takes g5, because now you gained a very important tempo here, and now you can play bishop f5. And you're obviously getting some counterplay. For example, he cannot take here anymore because bishop d3, and then the rook hangs. And if you go something like knight g3, I can take, and let's say queen f7, covering the key squares. And if I take first and knight f3, then I can take on e5. All right, so all these lines don't really work out for white anymore. So suddenly after knight g7, there's no clear win anymore. And finally h4, I can now take. And after queen takes, I could play rook f7, rook g8, whatever. And if knight f4, at least this pawn's hanging. So I realized that all of my other options are bad, but after knight g7, at least I saw that I'm attacking f5, and he doesn't have a clear knockout win, right? So remember, when you're in a losing position, or you feel like you're in trouble, try to play in a way where you avoid losing immediately, at least, right? I mean, try to make sure that your opponent does not have anything easy direct against your move. Like, for example, after this, your opponent has this very direct idea, right? And you can't really do much. So the first step is to not blunder something big, or like rook f7, h4. And once you see, like, okay, this move doesn't work, this move doesn't work, then you have a good chance of finding the only move, the defensive move. So I played knight g7, and he took. And then we exchanged. Now, this is already not so easy. Here he might still have an advantage, but he was still misplaying it a bit. Knight c1, rook f8, bishop c2, rook here, queen f4. Yeah, and in this position, I'm already doing pretty well. Well, this game had lots of interesting ups and downs, so we'll go through them step by step. Yeah, so here it's black to play, and the question is what to do as black here. Now this is a hard move, but I'll challenge you. This is meant to be a hard class, right? So black to play. Let's try to find what I should have done in this position.